Welcome to Fishing Without Bait, a lifetime without definitive expectations, where we help people explode into their lives through full impact mindfulness. We help people create their lives rather than find them. If you're welcome nowhere else, you're certainly welcome here. The only admission fee is the honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness to try. Hello, my friends. I'm Jim Ellermeyer. I'm a behavioral health therapist, and today, surprise, surprise, I'm joined by my good friend, co-host, and producer of this program, Mr. Mike.
Hello, Jim. Good to be back with you once again.
So, Mr. Mike, we're into our second podcast of a new year.
Mm-hmm.
New Year's is when people generally make goals, goals that they achieve. However, I think what I wanted to talk about to our friends in the land tonight is avoid putting conditions on achieving your goals.
What do you mean by that, Jim?
Well, I, along with many other people, have mastered the art of procrastination.
You and me both.
So let's say that I'm in my kitchen and I'm looking at my stainless steel sink, okay? And I'm thinking, this could really use shined. So rather than me shine it, I put a condition on that saying what I really need to do is go to the store and buy some special stainless steel cleaner, which obviously prevents me from achieving my goal because I can clean it with most anything. So, but what I do is I put conditions on that. In order to properly complete this, I have to go get this stainless steel cleaner. And I go around and I travel around the store after store and spend hours, maybe finally find it and come home. And I have the stainless steel cleaner now, but nothing's done.
You mean like buying a treadmill, setting it up, and then not using it?
Yes, using it as a good coat rack.
Yes, as we saw with the Amazon reviews, I think a few weeks ago we talked about.
Yes, I'd like to, I'm going to join the gym, but rather than me go to the gym, in order for me to have the proper gym experience, I need to buy gym clothes and I need to get a new gym bag and I need to get these supplements and I need to get these magazines about health before I go to the gym. That's putting conditions on your goals. Okay. It's like saying, you know what? I can study. However, I need a better chair. If I only had a better chair, I could do more studying. I could do more intense studying. Or I know I have a lot of wonderful ideas to write with, but what I really need, I need a brand new laptop.
So, Jim, I see where you're at. But I think some people are out there, maybe not with these specific examples, but with this type of process, and saying, but if I want to do this thing the right way, I need to do X, Y, and Z first. Like, how do you talk to people about those that say, I want to make sure I'm not going in half-cocked to this process. You're not necessarily cleaning your dishes or getting on the treadmill, but like for other processes.
Well, in other processes like that, Mike, it's like a pyramid type of process. Okay. Here's the goal: buying a house.
Yes.
Okay. We don't go out this afternoon and start looking for houses. Okay. What we do is we start at step one and determine whether we are able to afford a home.
Check the credit. Okay. What do we need to do with the credit? Move up a step up from there. So that's the looking. So we're looking at two things. There's one where we're looking at a goal that we can start today, that we turn into a pyramid. And then we look at the big pyramid and we don't see what is the first baby step to get to that
we look
goal
at the
today.
Goal of the top of the pyramid.
Yes.
And what steps do we take to achieve that?
Yes.
Goal?
And it's kind of that idea, I had this philosophy when I started working out more rigorously in July. It was like, hey, what is the first goal? It's not, I want to do a 5K every day. It's not that, right? It's okay. I can do 20 minutes. I can do a mile. I can do 2 miles. What can I do? What does this look like to do this today? Okay, let's do it tomorrow. Can we keep doing that? And then we'll add on, and then we add on. Let's try core. Let's try this. What if we do this?
Setting conditions on achieving your goals is nothing more than a fancy word for procrastination. The doctor says, you need to walk 3 miles a day. Okay. Well, I come home and I say, well, the doctor says I need to walk 3 miles a day. And in order to do that, I need proper walking shoes
Mm-hmm.
rather than the shoes that you walk to the doctors with.
I kind of went through this process a little bit because I did have a little bit of an upset thing where my treadmill broke, right? And I could say, "Oh, I can't walk. I don't have a treadmill. It's snowing outside. It's snowing outside, you know." And then, but that turned me into, all right, I don't want to walk into when it's under 50 degrees. Okay, it's 45 degrees. This is okay. And I moved down until it was like, it's snowing. I'm not going outside. That's where I drew the line. But then I started going to the mall and walking. I was like, oh, I don't have a treadmill. I'm getting up in the morning. Let's see, the wall opens at 10 o'clock. I'll see. I'll be back. You know, I still needed to get it done, you know, and I think that's the thing. Oh, I need to walk every day. I don't want to join a membership. It's the middle of winter in Pittsburgh. I don't want to go outside. Okay, it's very nice the last couple of days here. But still, as of this recording, go to the mall. Like that, hopefully you have one near you, of course. I know this doesn't help everybody, but still, like there's got to be something like that. Go up and down your steps, walk up and down the hallway. You know, when I'm in a place that doesn't have a treadmill and I can't go outside, I find a hallway, walk up and down it, and set indoor walk on my Apple Watch until it says I went 2 miles. Every step, even the length of a hallway, is enough of a step.
Putting conditions on your goals is nothing more than procrastination.
Mm-hmm. What can you do with what's in front of you right now to start today?
Yes. It's like saying, I'd really like to start a podcast, but in order to start this podcast, what I really need to do is buy a high-priced camera, and I have to get a microphone system and all of these things.
We talked about this because we were doing these sessions, these like kind of educational sessions and groups, and somebody wanted to do like science or math lessons. It's like, I bought the camera, I did this. What do I do next? And I just said, hit record. Do one. Go from there. You gotta like you got all this stuff. You didn't even need to get all that stuff. You need to start hitting record, make sure you can do this thing, right? On a camera. Sure, you do it in front of students, but can you do it on a camera that it makes sense? Start there.
Just push the button.
Mm-hmm. Push the button.
Push the button.
Press start. Press record.
Many times what happens is when somebody says, I need to write a paper. But I can't get started. I said, here's how you start. You use a word processor? Yes. Get in front of the word processor and start putting your hands on the keys. You started.
And see what happens.
Yes, you started.
Mm-hmm.
You've started.
Mm-hmm.
Most people believe that they have to do it perfectly. Oh, I have to draw a picture of a tree. Put a pencil or a crayon or whatever in your hand and make your hands move across a piece of paper. You've started.
Pick up the guitar. Pick up the, pick up the pots and pans and start cooking. Like the green light is on, guys.
Yes, push the button. We've often talked about that, and we've often talked about how frustrating it is when I hear people say, I'll know when the time is right. And I'll say, well, tell me what the issue is with right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's not the right time. Well, how does one know that then?
Mm-hmm.
How does one know when the right time is? Putting conditions on your happiness. People put conditions on their happiness, Mike. Mm-hmm. If only I lived in Peoria, Illinois. If only I had a bigger house. Mm-hmm. If only I had nicer shoes. And we put conditions on this, which keeps us stuck.
Today, for most people, things are not as accessible. And if you don't know how to do that first step, you're listening to a podcast. That means you can Google. Okay. that's like, figure it out. You know what? I was like letting the house go, and I had never cleaned a bathroom before. And you know what I did a couple of years ago when I finally had it and said, I'm going to start taking care of things? I Googled, how do I clean a toilet? Because I, wanted to take care of it, that's it. It's like the wife is gone for 2 months. I need to figure this out.
Yeah.
Like things like that. There's always that first step. There's the nice to haves, but you can start with this thing and get to the nice to haves. I started walking and it says, oh, I should get some better shoes, but I started walking first.
What is the obstacle? What is preventing you from doing something?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and making choices. Most people might avoid making choices, number one, because they're fear of failure,
Mm-hmm.
fear of being embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
And the second point, and sometimes even more likely, is how others are going to view their choice.
Right.
What are they going to think of me if I do this?
Mm-hmm.
What are people going to think of me if I quit my job? What are people going to think of me if I buy a blue car?
Mm-hmm.
What are people going to think of me if I drop out of college? What are people going to think of me if I date somebody of another race or religion? What are people going to think? And if you're not doing any harm to anyone or anything, then do as you choose. Here's what I say to my patients. I say, as long as you're doing no intentional harm to anyone or anything, you can go ahead and wear a Bozo the Clown wig, put a big red nose on, and walk down the street in floppy shoes because you're doing no intentional harm to anyone or anything. And again, how many people not only judge other people, but unfortunately judge themselves, which puts condition on their goals.
Right.
I'm not dressed well enough to do this. I don't have a nicest. Oh, gee, they look at you and they say, gee, I don't have all this nice stuff like you have here.
Mm-hmm.
If I had your stuff, yeah, no wonder you can do this because you have all these things.
Mm-hmm.
Did people think they just appeared? These cameras that we're looking at, they were Santa Claus brought them to you?
No. Collected over years and years of work and building your personal empire, whatever that may be.
Yes. So you've heard of the phrase that, well, it'd be easy. You have a hit song. I said, yeah, I'm a 20-year overnight success. A 20-year overnight success. So what we want to do, we okay to make mistakes. People don't want to, they put conditions on, oh, what if I fail? What if you do? What if you fail? I remember when I had the idea to found Namaste, holistic counseling, my son asked me, well, Dad, what if you fail? I said, well, then I fail.
Mm-hmm.
Then I fail. I don't know why it seems in this country that failing or making a mistake is unacceptable. That is putting conditions. That is putting conditions on achieving your goals. People don't want to answer questions in class for fear of being wrong. What's wrong with being wrong? If you were right all the time, life would become meaningless
Mm-hmm.
and boring.
Right.
We learn by our mistakes. Every single one of them. Don't put those type of conditions on your goals. By the point of this program, Mike, the point of this podcast today is don't be afraid to fail. Do not be afraid to fail. As long as you're not putting yourself or anyone in any harm's way, then you do as you choose and not be afraid to fail. You know, we've talked about that Edison thing 100 times on this show about when he was confronted about this investigative reporter trying to get a rise out of Edison, saying, hey, Mr. Edison, how does it feel to have failed 1,000 times, referring to finding the proper filament to make a light bulb light? And Edison looked at him and said, I've never failed. I found 1,000 things that didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the idea. It's finding things that don't work in your life. Where would you be at if you kept doing the things that didn't work, Mike?
I often say with some of the stuff that we do, I don't know how to train people to have made all the mistakes I have to be as good as we are as we would do. So how does that translate for something like that, right? What makes you a stronger one in that profession, in that form, in that skill set, right? Is like I found out all the ways that don't work, and I've figured out how to work around them or rise above them.
Well, it's like in the 12-step world when we talk about this frequently on this show. When someone says, I don't know what to do, we say, we have a good hunch that you know what not to do.
Exactly.
And you learn what not to do by making mistakes. So our challenge to everyone out there tonight is avoid putting conditions on your goals. If you have a goal, then go and do it. And Best time to do that is right now. We've talked about the Chinese philosopher that said the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. So, my friends, your life is right in front of you. Your life is right in front of you right now. It's not happening tomorrow. It's not happening next week. It's not happening 10 minutes ago. Your life's happening right now. So, our motto is full impact mindfulness. Be present in your life and make choices, those powerful words I choose. And as always, we offer a free prescription at the end of every podcast. Fruits, nuts, and vegetables. Unplug your television and take up fishing. And for a truly mindful experience, we suggest that you fish without bait. Do a kindness for yourself and do a kindness for another. Forgive yourself and forgive another. If we're not all God's children, none of us are. Till all of us are free, none of us are free. Namaste, my friends.
If you're interested in flying the colors of fishing without bait, click the shop icon on our website. We have clothing, mugs, cell phone cases, and so much more. Show the world that you fish without bait.